the Slept On podcast, where we interview artists that require more recognition. Today we have Leeds-based singer-songwriter Eve Buckley. Hello.
Hello.
Where are you calling from today?
I'm calling from London today, actually.
Oh, whereabouts in London are you?
I'm staying at my best friend's house in Richmond. I'm here to do an interview and like a live session. So yeah.
Amazing. Whereabouts is your live session? Is that also in Richmond?
No, it's in Central. Yeah, I'm recording like a Jazz FM session, an interview that's going to be like aired this weekend. So yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, honestly, it was such a treat to see you play live last week at the Lower Third. It was really amazing. You and your band were terrific.
Thank you so much.
Was there someone from Jazz FM at your gig last week, or?
Yeah, so Tony Minviel, who I'm actually doing the session and like interview with today. He came along, which was like really, really lovely. And, he's played my music for a couple months now as I've released it. So it was just so nice to like see him face to face and like have a chat with him. So yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, the venue was gorgeous as well, like the very intimate, small, like exposed brick. Because I'd never been to the Lower Third before, had you?
No, that was my first time. No, like I've never been, but I didn't realize how central it was going to be. Like I was at the gig and I was like, oh my God, this looks like a really cool venue. And then I turn up and I'm like, on Tottenham Court Road. I'm like, what the hell?
No, I had the same thing. So there's a place called The Forge in Camden. I showed up to The Forge and it was closed. And I was like, what is going on? I thought, surely not. Because obviously your gig was sold out, which is really impressive for your London debut.
Yeah, it was super cool. It was crazy. I just did not expect that to happen at all.
How did you find playing in such a small, intimate venue? What was that like?
I mean, I suppose like the headlines I've done so far have been quite kind of intimate, and I think kind of obviously like at the stage I'm at, it's really nice to just share my music in that kind of space. I think, at the moment I just really like doing gigs where you can kind of feel like you're like immersing the audience in the music. And yeah, all the venues I've played like on the little mini tour just felt like really nice intimate spaces where everyone can just kind of relax, which is how I wanted it to be, so
yeah, I really loved it as well. It was really nice to see as an audience member. So yeah, obviously when I saw you play, it was just before the release of your EP, Some Kind of Solace. How does it feel now that it's out?
It's crazy. I mean, like it's a lot to process. I think this week is kind of like obviously like a celebrating week, but also like a processing everything that's happened in like the past year. I mean, obviously it gets like way more intense up to like the release date, with like me doing the pre-launch gigs and stuff. But no, it just feels really good because, I mean, it's just surreal to have your first kind of, like collection of songs out after, you see these like artists and musicians pop up, but realistically, like they've been working on it for like years, I've been writing those songs for years. So yeah, it's just surreal, really.
Yeah, nice to finally get the recognition, I bet.
Absolutely, yeah, it feels really good, yeah. I mean, just to have like a lovely response from people to your music is just really like affirming, and like motivates you to just carry on making music.
So how long have you been passionate about pursuing music? Was there a specific moment where you thought this is the path for me, or how did that come about for you?
I mean, like music's always been like quite a big part of my life. It's always like something I've spent time doing in some, form. But yeah, I kind of started going to like open mics when I was like in my teens, but I suppose I've always kind of had an influence from like my brother was a musician and was in a few bands. And then I also had kind of phases where, you kind of fall out of love with it for certain reasons and then you come back to it. But it probably wasn't until like I had a really, really great music department at college, and I had like an amazing teacher that just like was one of those teachers that just really inspired me to like pursue, going into music. And that was when I decided I wanted to move to Leeds and just like fully kind of explore, what I could do in the industry, So.
So did you go to Leeds University?
I went to Leeds Conservatoire. Yeah, the music.
Oh, amazing. Yeah. I've heard really good things about that. How did you find that?
I mean, yeah, it was amazing. Like, I think just being able to meet so many people, like you kind of just like entered into a pool of like really incredible musicians. And so then you can just like spend the 3 years just kind of like finding out what you want to do, which is really cool. It just kind of gave me like the time and space to like write, I just used it to write and like collaborate with other musicians. And then also just the fact that you're in Leeds, which is just like a really, really, really busy music scene, is just like really cool. Spend 3 years doing that,
Yeah, I think I said this to you when I briefly spoke to you after your gig. It's so nice to see Northern musicians down in London, because for some reason you just don't see it as much. Even though we're in such a small country, I never seem to find these, gigs around London where you've got artists, especially from somewhere as far north as like Leeds,
Yeah.
How do you find the scene up there? Do you feel like you have to come down to London to feel seen, or do you think there's quite a vibrant jazz scene up in Leeds or Manchester?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's very different. I mean, there is a very, very vibrant jazz scene, in Leeds and in the north, but I suppose it just seems that, like London like kind of has the kind of opportunities, or it feels as if it has the opportunities for you to progress, Leeds is like Leeds has given me a lot to get me to the stage that I'm at, I suppose. And like, I mean, it's the kind of a cliche thing of like, you feel like you have to go down to London to like progress in your career, which, isn't true. Like a lot of people like stay in Leeds and do like really, really well. But I suppose it's just a different thing of like, there just is so many more opportunities in London to be seen by, I suppose industry people, or to get into the music industry. It feels as if you have to do that. But, it is entirely possible to still do that in Leeds because it's just got such a great scene,
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah.
absolutely. I mean, speaking of London-based jazz musicians, I was actually doing a little bit of stalking of you, if that's if that's not really creepy to say.
Not at all.
And I saw that you're a big fan of Amy Winehouse, specifically Frank, which is also one of my favorite albums of all time. So can we speak about that a bit? I mean, what does that album mean to you? How do you think Amy Winehouse has impacted on your music specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, I suppose I feel like all singers have that kind of like phase, when they kind of discover Amy Winehouse when you're like 17, 18, and then you just like deep dive. Like it's like an instant obsession because obviously she was just so incredible. But I suppose even with like these kind of debut releases, her work and just her voice, like simply has obviously had such a massive impact on, the music I write and maybe how I sing a little bit. But I just think, yeah, so I started like kind of listening to her when I was like 17, 18. And I think in terms of like the fact that I'm kind of, the whole EP I've like written kind of about like entering my early 20s, like, as a woman. And I think the essence of Frank kind of has that, I kind of found listening to it when I was 17, 18, like, it's just really empowering. She kind of just wrote about whatever she wanted. And that's kind of what I've tried to maybe take from like listening to Frank, is that, especially like songs like Big Shot, they kind of maybe have a little bit of like an empowering kind of energy. I suppose that's probably the song where I've taken the most influence from her kind of essence. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Big Shot was the song that I was actually thinking of specifically, because I feel like one of the great things about Frank is the fact that she acknowledges past experiences that have been hurtful, but she kind of adds a bit of a like cynical humor to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I really loved about Big Shot as well. And I suppose I just wanted to ask, if you're comfortable talking about it, was there any sort of personal experiences that impacted on your writing around that time, also tongue-tied, or?
Yeah, I mean, all of them are based on personal experiences, really. I mean, all the songs are just kind of reflections on those kind of like turning points you have, I suppose, like in your early 20s, when, it's like a huge period of growth, really, and like learning yourself and like exploring kind of what you want to be surrounded by, I suppose. I mean, in relationships as well as, like peace of mind, I wrote about, like my anxiety and how I get through that. The whole EP is, like very personal, and that's just like kind of how I write. That's kind of how I get inspired to write. Kind of at the moment, anyway. I've not explored different types of writing, but it's always been a very based on a personal experience for me. So,
No, I mean, do you have a specific process when you approach your writing? Does it start with the lyrics, the melody?
To be honest, I mean, it really does vary, I think. A lot, I mean, to be fair, I suppose with a lot of the songs, they have started with lyrics. You know, I maybe get like a bit of inspiration and then I just start writing, like scribbling stuff down. Um, but I think I do that to kind of get a general idea of like what I want to write about. And then, yeah, I'll start kind of like messing around with chords and stuff. But it tends to just like kind of vary from song to song, really. You know, sometimes I've got like a melody in my head that I want to write with,
Mm.
or you know, I've found some chords first. It just kind of depends on what the song's about, I suppose, and like where
Uh-huh.
it's come from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is it the case of that you're a traditional notebook girl, or is your Apple Notes just full of random
I've
random
really,
pieces?
really tried so hard to be a notebook girl.
Oh
Like,
yeah, same. Yeah.
because I think like growing up it's just all actually I mean, yeah, it's always been on my phone mostly, but I've really, really tried hard to like write them into notebooks, like because I just
Mm.
think, oh, it would be like really cool to look back on like after I've released this song to like see where it first started in my notebook. So like I have got a few notebooks that like but they're like mostly unused and it's really I really think it's getting
Yeah.
a bit of doing it, but it just like for some reason it feels more organized on my phone and like
No, I totally get
the
that.
whole thing of scribbling out just like stresses me out. Like,
No, I totally get that. Like, I don't know if you, speaking of Amy Winehouse again, I don't know if you went to the exhibition of hers that was in London a few years back. Did you go?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it was so amazing. And like they had her notebook scribbles of like original songs, like What Is It About Men in the
Mhm.
glass casing. And I just remember thinking, like, well, what if you write all of your songs like on your phone? What are they just gonna like print the screenshots and have
Well,
them inside
you know what? That was literally like going to that exhibition was what made me think like I need more physical like evidence of like what I'm doing. Like it made me
them?
feel guilty. I was like, oh my God, like there's all these like cool scribblings that she did. And I've literally got like barely it.
Yeah.
Not that I feel like it would ever be made into an exhibition, but like it's just like it would be nice to have those for myself, like to
Well,
see where
sure
it
it
all
will.
came from, you know?
Yeah, maybe this interview will be there. Like, who knows?
Yeah, yeah, just up on a screen, like.
Yeah. I don't know if you remember, but she had a pair of jeans that she'd embroidered the name Sinatra into the back of them. If you had to embroider one artist name into your pair of jeans in your exhibition, which one would it be and why?
Oh, that's a really, really tough question, you know. Oh, I feel like it has to be like really cool though, because I want to wear them around, you know. Like those like really cool like pieces of clothing you see where people have like printed their favorite artist on or something.
Mhm.
I'd have to get something maybe that like I used to listen to growing up that like I know that I will like never
Yeah, that's a good
because
point.
it's going to be on that piece of clothing for a long time, you know.
Mhm.
Oh, I'd probably have to say like maybe like Jeff Buckley. I think it might
Oh,
have to be Jeff
yeah,
Buckley.
that is a great
Or
choice.
I think Jeff Buckley would be cool actually printed on a pair of jeans. Because I
Yeah, and you
think,
could just put like Grace or something there.
yeah, that would be so cool actually. Because I think like Jeff Buckley is one of them which like hasn't obviously like had impact on the music that I write, but obviously just the work that he made has obviously impacted like every musician ever because he was such an incredible vocalist. So I
Mhm.
feel like I'm always gonna have like so much admiration for, you know, what he did. So yeah.
Yeah, that is an excellent choice, I have to say. Just bringing it back to your EP. You've named the EP Some Kind of Solace. Could you go more into the reason behind the title?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I mean, well, some kind of solace is a lyric in Peace of Mind. So yeah, it's a lyric in the second verse of Peace of Mind, which I just like love. That's my like favorite section of the song.
Mm.
Like lyrically, it was probably like the first lyrics that I wrote that I was just like really connected with and felt like I'd written them really kind of honestly. Um, and yeah, I just think that it kind of like, especially songs like Peace of Mind, like writing them brought me writing the whole EP brought me a lot of like comfort and reflecting on the experiences I had. Just it brought me a lot of solace. So yeah, it really felt like the name was like fitting to like what the experience of making it was like. Um, yeah, that was pretty much it.
Oh, so would you say that Peace of Mind is the track you're most proud of, or?
I think I'm really proud of them. I mean, I'm proud of them all in like different ways and for different reasons, I think. Peace of Mind was like the first track which I mean, the whole EP has kind of been a discovery of like me finding out what my sound was, I suppose. You know, it was my first time like making music, so, or like recording music. So it was all kind of a massive like learning journey, really. But yeah, Peace of Mind was probably the first one where I felt as if I was going in a direction that I really, really liked. I kind of brought in like different influences to Big Shot, and just kind of like different sounds, which really I've always kind of wanted to experiment with. So yeah, I suppose in terms of that, Peace of Mind did kind of feel like that song that just took it in the direction that I wanted it to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember at your gig, you sang Ingrained, which was about your mum, is that right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, it was so beautiful, and it's the last track on your EP, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you think that singing about and writing lyrics about womanhood and coming of age as a woman is something that you'll continue to write about? Do you think that'll be a continuing theme throughout your work?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think it's always going to be like a prevalent thing in my life, obviously, like as, you know, I grow as a person. And um I think that song was probably the very start of me. I mean, the whole EP obviously is about me, you know, kind of entering womanhood, but Ingrain kind of feels like the key song in the EP, which summarizes all of that. And that's why I like loved it as the last track, and we always kind of knew it would be the last track on the EP because it kind of, yeah, it just summarized everything that I kind of wrote about in those first three songs. And yeah, it was kind of just like a really pure expression of how I was feeling after having written all those songs and just like at that time. And I think it's something that I'll definitely probably delve into deeper from different perspectives, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what was your mum's reaction to it? I bet she was really emotional.
Well, shit, because I didn't like send it to her for a while because I was like, I kind of wanted it to be finished.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to send it to her before like it had reached my like full vision for it, you know?
Yeah.
But then when I did send it to her, she was like, "Why didn't you tell me this song was about me?" But now it's like she just loves it, you know, and it's just like an
Yeah, I bet.
emotional song. So
And then,
everyone, like whenever I've like played it to them for the first time, it's a bit of an emotional one.
yeah.
For
No,
sure.
amazing. I mean, I'm sure that the release of the EP will see your name coming up more and more often. Has anything surprised you about coming into the industry and, your growth within the industry so far?
I feel like just the whole. I mean, I feel like you know what the thing that surprised me is just like the amount of admin you have to do. Actually, that's like
Really?
the main thing. I think, especially as a completely independent artist, like that's probably something I've probably majorly struggled with. It's just like the amount of time you have to dedicate to just being on your phone. And it's like, I
Yeah.
think, especially in this kind of like day and age, it's just like, it's something that would be great to change. Like, you know,
You mean
because,
like social media, like having to maintain a presence?
yeah, I mean, that as well as just like admin, like, you know, just like organizing gigs and, you know, like emails, replying to emails and planning things. And like, it's all things that, you know, that's like takes up most of the time. But then, like, when are you doing the music? Like, it is kind of like a hard thing to balance when you, especially when you're in the middle of like a big project.
Yeah.
So that's 100% one thing that surprised me because obviously, I think when you're kind of starting out, obviously you start doing a little admin in terms of like you're constantly sending off emails, trying to get gigs, you know, sending in music to people. But then when you're starting to like actually release a project and organize gigs, it becomes like a huge thing that like takes over your life. You know, like you're doing like admin for like most of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that you don't really think about so much, especially talking about artists from like the 90s, the early 2000s. It's not really something that was a major part of being an independent artist, like before social
Yeah,
media. Is it
100%.
something that do you enjoy trying to maintain a social media presence, or would it be something that you would love to just like delegate to someone else?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I've always really not been, I've never found it easy to be like to have a strong social media presence. So
Thing.
it
Yeah.
has 100% been something like I've found difficult.
Mm.
Just in terms of like especially with music, like, because like you can just go so far with it, but you can get just so carried away, I think, because I think it's just hard when you're kind of like an introverted person as well, and you've got to put your whole personality on like your Instagram page, and it's just like that's not. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like not great that that's what you have to do, you know,
Yeah.
to get your music heard, now.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, I've 100% struggled with that.
Have
For
you
me.
had any help like from your band members or like your producers? Like, do you find that they assist you with any of that, or is it very much like a solo?
I mean, yeah, I've been doing it completely solo, really, and I think I just feel like, especially when like I've only just kind of started trying to build like a kind of social media presence, I suppose. I kind of want to keep it like as me as possible. And
Yeah.
like, I suppose I always just feel like it's nicer to say if you're like looking at an artist's Instagram, it's always kind of nicer to see that they're like themselves, I suppose. It doesn't feel as forced. I feel like maybe if someone else was doing it, it wouldn't come across as me, you know?
Mhm.
So yeah, at the moment it's just like entirely me. So
Yeah.
maybe in the future it'd be great if someone can just do it for me.
I feel like you're doing a really good job. I mean, you're posting a lot
Thank you.
of a lot of promo. So what's next for you? What upcoming tours do you have? What upcoming gigs? Any new releases?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a few gigs coming up. I mean, I'm gonna having a little bit of a break to just kind of take a breather from the EP, but then
Fair
soon,
enough.
yeah, I'm like getting back to recording. And then I'm planning to release a few singles, and then just like start working on my next big projects after that. Um, but yeah, for now, I'm just gonna be kind of gigging probably around the UK. Um, I've got I've got another London gig on the 22nd of April, which is
Where are you
support.
playing?
I'm playing at 229
Okay.
venue, I think. I think that's what it's called. But I'm supporting Web Moms because I did a show with them in Leeds a couple of months back, and they're really cool. So there, yeah, that's in April, and then I've got a gig in Hull as well. Um, I can't exactly remember 25th of March actually. Yeah, 25th of March.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm just kind of like gigging around, trying to get into different cities, really.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's my plan for the next couple of months, really.
Okay. And you mentioned that you may be releasing some singles. Are you able to tell me any more about that, or is it top secret?
I can tell you a little bit. I can tell you a little
Okay.
bit. Um, so yeah, the few singles will be kind of like what I've played in my set for a while now. Um, and they're just songs that basically like I didn't want to put on the this EP. Um, and yeah, the next one we're recording kind of feels like it's kind of a development from the sound of the EP in like a really cool way that I've always really wanted to do. Um, and we've kind of already started recording that one. So yeah, I'm really excited about that one, and hopefully there should be news on that in the next few months. So
Okay, that's really exciting. I'll have to look
thank
out for that. And you've
sure.
also released some merch. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, they look really cool. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I love them so much. I just think like it's just so surreal to have my own t-shirts. Like it's so cool. Obviously, like you
Mhm.
grow up like buying like your favorite band's merch, and then you have it, and you're like, this is crazy. And I just like love the design so much. Like
Mhm.
my best friend Ella Critchley designed did like a drawing for it, and I just kind of love the merch that's a bit more like it just looks it just looks like the artist kind of thing. And especially when it's drawings and like line work, I just think t-shirts look really cool and like a lot
Yeah.
more like authentic to the music. I feel like when it's a little bit more not rough, but you know what I mean? Like it kind of feels a bit more like personal.
Mhm.
So I said to my friend Ella, obviously I told her like the name of the EP, Some Kind of Solace, and what it's about. It's about, being a woman in your 20s and trying to find comfort and like searching for solace and stuff. Um, and yeah, I just kind of said that I wanted some kind of like swirly melting face kind of thing. And she just like absolutely smashed it. Like she sent it to me and I was like, what? That's crazy. Because like the first time I looked at it, I was like, that is like the EP.
Yeah.
Like that literally looks like what the EP feels to me, which is
That's
just so
amazing.
cool.
And was that on
Yeah.
her first try? Her first draft?
Yeah, it was one of the very first few drafts. It's
Wow.
absolutely crazy. And I was just like,
That's
yeah,
so cool.
perfect.
And
Yeah.
does she do that full time? Is that her job? Is she an artist?
No, she's actually an actor, but she
Oh,
obviously like,
really?
yeah, but she like does a lot of drawings and commissions because she's just like really talented at art and drawing. And
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, she's like obviously she's got like an art Instagram, but she's posted a lot of kind of like illustrated line drawings before, and I was like, that's what I want. That's the
That's
style that I
amazing.
want. And I think it's really
Yeah.
cool to just like work with your friends as well because like obviously like I've like lived with Ella in the past and she knows me and my music so well. So it was really cool to get one of my best friends to design my first Ella merch, it feels a lot more personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I love that. And just to finish up the interview, can you name any artists that you feel are currently slept on?
Okay, I've got one.
Okay.
So it's a band called Rush Bonds.
Okay.
They're Leeds based. The lead singer, Robin McLeod, is like the most incredible singer I've ever heard in my life. And her songwriting is just like nothing you've ever heard in your life. So, and they've also got a single coming out next Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, so for sure, go and listen to Rush Bonds. They've also released a couple of singles in the past couple of years, which are literally incredible. But they're kind of
Amazing.
like an experimental indie band, but Robin's just got like a really like soulful voice. So it's really cool. It's just like nothing you ever heard before, basically. So yeah, if you're looking
Okay,
for new
fantastic.
music, absolutely listen to them.
I'll be sure to include their links below.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for speaking with me, Eve. It's been really nice to hear
Oh,
more
no, thank
about
you for having me. Well,
your
a lovely time.
journey. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.